The main thing you need to know is, there are actually a few main things you need to know. You can just use the word for the without even saying what it is. That's why it actually can be nice. It's actually an efficiency thing. Der, die, das, der, masculine, das, neutral, die, feminine. This threw me for a loop when I first started. There are a number of words for the. Hi and welcome back to ULMX, German for Beginners. This video is about the German genders, which is an integral part of the German language. Stay tuned. We're going to dive in and explain it from the very beginning. So the first question is, what are genders? And we really only see this in English with personal pronouns. He and she, or his and her. But if you talk about a thing, and genders apply only to things, fortunately, it's similar to the way you treat his, her, him, her, he, and she. In German, the words for things, nouns, use a gender-specific definite and indefinite article. Before we really understand what that means, we need to know what a definite article is. What's a definite article? In English, the word the is the only definite article, almost, pretty much. And an indefinite article is a, or a, or an. It means one. And when you say one, you're talking about something that's not exactly specific. It could be this one, or it could be another one, or it could be any one, theoretically, that doesn't exist. It's indefinite, whereas the is definite. Okay. Knowing what an indefinite and what a definite article is helps to begin this discussion. The first thing you have to realize is that the translation of the in German, excuse me, this threw me for a loop when I first started. There are a number of words for the. I'll count them off. Der, die, das, dem, den, 5. These 5 definite articles play musical chairs a little bit. The main thing you need to know is, there are actually a few main things you need to know. Here's an example. A chair is Stuhl. Der Stuhl. That's masculine. This chair happens to be made out of wood, and that's das Holz, and that's neutral. And inside the wood, you see the fine grains of the wood. That's die Maserung, and that's feminine. So here it is for the beginning of the video. Der, die, das, der, masculine, das, neutral, die, feminine. That's the main beginning. This is the first step. When you look up in the dictionary, what gender is this word? It will be defined by, in this case, in the nominative, in the role of the subject of the sentence. So, the chair sits there. The chair is on the floor. The chair is in the air. The chair, in this case, casus, case, that's nominative, and that's the subject of the sentence. So, there are actually a few main things you need to know. The next thing you need to know, apart from what a definite article is, what an indefinite article is, and that there are 5 translations for the word the, is that there's something called cases. Cases are another video, don't worry, we're not going to get into it. But there's a certain case which refers to the subject of the sentence. The subject of the sentence. That's nominative, and that's the subject of the sentence. So The wood grain is beautiful. That's the subject of the sentence, nominative. And the subject is the thing that's doing something in the sentence. You know, there are actually a few main things you need to know. It helps to understand the parts of a sentence. You have the subject, the object, and an indirect object, which gets kind of confusing. So you have a direct object and an indirect object. Once again, we're back to something similar to definite and indefinite article. It's somewhat theoretical, but it helps you so much to understand what is the heck we're talking about. The subject does something, and it's doing something to an object, but it will do whatever it's doing with an indirect object. So here's the example. The subject hits the ball, which is the object, and it hits it with a baseball bat, and that's the indirect object. If you have a feel for that, you now have a place where you can go to for orientation. And another video is totally required to talk about cases, since it's its own huge, not huge, but it's its own thing. To an extent, we have that already with he gives her and she gives him. You see where he and her and she and him are switching in those two sentences? That's basically what you would start with as an example for cases. And to start with an example for gender in English, it's impossible because the word the never changes, whereas the word the in German does change. But this is a good example. So with a mother and father, in German, it's Vater for father, and the father is der Vater. So it belongs to that masculine thing, and it helps in this case because it's not just arbitrary like the chair. With the chair, it's just like a random object that has a masculine name. It is hard to grasp at first. It's a bit random, but it often has to do with the construction of the word. And mother is Mutter, and it's die Mutter. Yeah. Okay. I know what you're thinking. Why? And I'll tell you why. I will, and no one else will. The reason is, it's more precise. When you're talking and you have 3 different words for the, you can just use the word for the without even saying what it is. If you're talking about the chair and the wood grain, you can just use the word the for the wood grain after the conversation's been rolling for a while, because you know you're not talking about the chair because it has a different word for the. And that's why it's good to know. That's why it actually can be nice. It's actually an efficiency thing. By having that specificity, it's like, why do you need 3 names? Why do you have a first name, middle name, and last name? It makes you more specific. And that's a similar story to that of der, die, das, the genders in the German language. The very first tip of the iceberg introduction. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. You may notice that some videos are coming out in German, some videos are coming out in English. You're smart enough to filter out which ones you want to watch. Thanks for checking in this time. Subscribe if you haven't already, because there will be more videos coming out from UMX. No doubt about that. And we'll do the German word for goodbye. Ciao. Ciao. No, just kidding. That's the Italian word, but the Germans like to say it. Tschüss.